Thank
Good evening, everyone. I welcome all the viewers. This is Dr. Venkateswaran, Placement Officer, K.S. Rangasamy College of Arts and Science, Tirchangur. And today we are on the fourth day of our Workotopia 2022. The session is 9, and today we are having a special guest for life science students, Madam Dr. Jaya Nagaraja from Molecular Connections, Bangalore. She completed a PhD in Switzerland and postdoctoral in New York. So she is having a vast knowledge that this session will see, and I hope everyone will enjoy this session. Welcome, madam. And on your busy schedule, you have given us a chance without saying no. For that, I
you.
have to pay my thanks. And the
Thank you,
session
sir.
is open to you, ma'am. Now you can carry on, ma'am. Thank you. Thank
Thank
you, ma'am.
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you. Um, uh, Thank you very much, sir, for giving me such a wonderful introduction. And can I have the first slide, please? Is possible? Because I'll go via the slides and then it'll be easier for me. How do we do that? Okay. First slide, sir, please. Mhm. Should should I share? Tyler. Hello, sir. Uh, can we share the first slide? I mean, yes. Thank you, sir. Is it some problem? No problem.
Thank you.
Okay. If it's difficult, I can share. I don't know that I can share. Maybe I can share too, but better he does it, I think.
No, no.
ಇಷ್ಟ ಇದೆಯಾ? Yeah, it's not coming, so yes, 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 yes. Thank you so much, sir. uh, you can make it bigger, everybody can see, because it looks so small here, but I don't know how you can do it. People can see it. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, because nobody need not see me. So thank you very much for inviting me to give a talk to these young bright minds over there. I'm Jaya Nagaraj. I've been working in molecular connections for the past many years. Before that, I did my PhD in wet lab research. I worked in Switzerland and New York and France. I did a lot of research, and then I moved over to molecular connections. As a chief scientist, I lead a lot of teams in different areas of work in molecular connections. Today, I would like to tell you a little bit about how to unleash some opportunities, how to open up the opportunities. Where do you find opportunities? How do you open up the opportunities which are there, out there, everywhere? How do you find it? How can you tap on those opportunities for all the life science people? Can I have the next slide, please? Next slide, please. Next slide. Yes. See, opportunities are dime a dozen there, in all directions within India, abroad. Of course, we will restrict ourselves to India. There are so many opportunities, but if it doesn't knock, then, as Milton said, you need to build a door. You need to upskill yourself. You need to qualify. You need to educate yourself, have different skills developed in different areas, and of course a door will open. So let me tell you how to go about doing this. Next slide, please. Thank you. So basically, I am going to restrict myself to light. It's very small. We can make, everybody can see it. Can people see? Okay. So basically, I'm going to restrict myself to life sciences because that's my, domain of expertise and area of expertise. And before we used to call it, biological sciences, natural sciences. And now it includes, gamut of areas like, molecular biology, biochemistry, bioinformatics, genetics, evolutionary biology, plant sciences, microbiology, omics, recombinant DNA technology, and many, many specialized area. All of them come under life sciences education. And the boundary or the interface between different areas of life sciences also is very, very blurry. One needs to know all these areas to find an opportunity, to get an opportunity to work in this area. See, generally we have many of you, I think, are bachelors and masters there who have a degree in life sciences or biological sciences, chemistry or biophysics. And generally after your bachelor's or master's, one tends to do a PhD like I did, which is the traditional method. And if you do your PhD, of course, you can do very, very special institutes, very, very highly reputed institutes like IISc, Indian Institute of Science, IITs, or many, many universities. One can pursue your PhD. This is for the traditional method of one person who want to pursue research. And even after masters, even after bachelors, now one can do PhD. Before it was only after bachelor's, master's, and then PhD. Now, even after bachelor's, one can do a PhD, which we call integrated PhD, which is offered by institutes like IISc, and for which, of course, we have to do, before we used to have entrance exams, but now we have these national level exams like JEE, CET, NEET, NET exams. All these exams, if you pass, you can easily do your PhD even after your bachelor's. So that, see, all these new things that have arrived, which was not there when I was there. And it's about 6 years or so, you can finish your master's and your PhD. But of course, you need to get through these entrance exams. And of course, there are very special streams like MD, PhD. See, these are the skills or the qualifications or the door that one needs to build to find opportunities. One can also do MD, PhD. This is, of course, offered in many foreign countries, but it's also there in India. This is for people who are interested in doing clinical sciences, like medical sciences, and as well as natural sciences. They want to do research and they want to do also be in the medical field. So they can opt for courses like MD, PhD, and this is always generally offered in medical colleges such as JIPMER, AIMS, Manipal University in Mangalore. They have a lot of ICMR schemes for all these programs. This is, of course, for very, very ambitious people who want to do medical degree and PhD. And of course, we have the traditional path of doing BE in biotechnology in various engineering colleges, biotechnology, biophysics, bioinformatics. All this, open up a lot of job opportunities nowadays. And we also you can also have specialized degrees or specialized diplomas in very, very, very special niche areas, which was never there before. Manipal University, Mahi, for example, they offer a lot of courses on stem cell biology, optometry, medical diagnostics, and all these kind of, big data analysis, all these kind of special niche areas one can equip, learn, and get a diploma or a degree to get better job prospects. And of course, in the last few years, several years, maybe more than 10, 15 years now, the data sciences has taken a big leap, and one can also get masters in, data sciences, for which you have, a curriculum like machine learning, big data analytics, statistics, bioinformatics, a lot of information science and a technology oriented kind of field. You do masters in data sciences. Of course, biology is a life science is a background one needs to know to pursue all these programs. Can I have the next slide, sir? Yeah. And basically, after doing your master's, very often many people nowadays they do, I think traditionally they used to do B.Ed if you want to get into colleges and pursue teaching as a passion, which is also wonderful. You can, in schools and colleges, that's a great thing too. And after PhD, also one can pursue teaching and continue to do research. First and foremost, after your PhD, one needs to do a postdoctoral stint. You need to do a postdoctoral program, research work, either abroad or India, and you work and you do research independently on a lot of on a wide variety of scientific subjects in a wet lab. You do research work, and then you have, get the ability to be independent and have a lab and pursue research. In India, we have this Indian Institute of Science, which is a leading institute in India, and it is ranked very high in the world. And I think number 18 or some such thing, last ranking I remember, for pursuing research. And they have a lot of collaborative, they have active partnership, and they do a lot of collaborative research with very many renowned universities in the world. So one can always do their PhD, one can always do their postdoc in Indian Institute of Science, IITs, and many other institutes, in very many academic institutes like ICERs, IITs, IISc, JNU, JNCASR, Jawaharlal Nehru Center of Advanced Scientific Research in Bangalore. They do a lot of good research. AIMS, which is medical and pure science oriented. Vellore Institute of Technology, very, medical oriented research. JIPMER, all these are many universities, and there are a lot of foreign labs. Of course, one can always do their postdoctoral work and pursue to do their research. And the funding, of course, for your PhD and for your postdoc, the funding agencies are DBT, DST, ICMR, CSIR. You get a fellowship to do your PhD, you get a fellowship to do your postdoc. So you already have some kind of money when you start to do your PhD. And if you do not want to be in a pure science doing research, one can always work in pharma companies like Dr. Reddy's, Biocon, Syngene, and still do wet lab research work, even in these pharma companies. So I'm still restricting myself to wet lab research. Next slide, please. Yeah. So then, it's very small. Okay. There are very many parallel streams that one can pursue their work apart from life sciences, data sciences, BE, MD, all this pure life sciences. One can also do an undergraduate or postgraduate program in clinical sciences, which include a lot of clinical research, clinical trials, bioinformatics, data analysis. This is a clinical science field which is taken a shape nowadays, which was not there those days. And very many institutes offer such courses. For example, Manipal Academy of Higher Education, Vellore Institute of Technology, Institute of Clinical Research, Bangalore. All of them offer specialized courses on clinical science, clinical trials kind of work. If one wants to pursue, one can pursue this field as well. And then you have this, medical diagnostics. One is very interested in working in a diagnostic lab. Then one needs to know a lot of medical microbiology, pathology. See, these kind of infectious disease oriented analysis. So this kind of study, if you have to do, also there are courses that are available in MAHI and many institutes. And then we have niche areas, wherein you can get your undergraduate, postgraduate, graduate degrees, or even diploma in very many niche areas, like very specialized areas, like stem cell and regenerative medicine, clinical genetics, physician's assistant, which was never there before, Physician's assistant is different from a nurse, by the way. Physician's assistants, optometry, medical diagnostics, all these are very niche areas wherein you can equip yourself and get a degree or a diploma to pursue and get a better job opportunity. And don't underestimate food science technology. Food science is not home science. It's a big science. It's a food technology processing, the development of novel foods, novel processing techniques. These are all taught in this food science courses, which is, I think it's a 4 or 5 years course, which is offered in Geetham, Mahi, CFTRI, National Institute of Nutrition. Many places offer these kind of courses in food science and technologies, which is a very major area that is, taking shape in the world. And bioinformatics, of course, I told you, which includes machine learning, big data analysis, statistical analysis, systems biology, real world evidence. This, of course, like IBAB and MAHI, this involves a lot of, one needs to know a little bit of information technology and IT-oriented subjects along with life science areas and a little bit of statistical analysis, etc. So these are the kind of parallel streams one can go along with the traditional paths that one follows in doing wet lab research, and then or you can do specialized courses in these areas and also look for job opportunities in these areas. Next slide, thank you. Highlights. Yeah. So now coming to the, the opportunities that are out there. One, of course, is there are two branches. One is the academic connect. One is the corporate connect. Academic connect, of course, is for those who are very, very interested in pursuing research. And it's a lot of dedication and commitment to do basic research. And of course, that involves a little bit of teaching as well in reputed institutes. But one has to be highly devoted. And of course, money is not as much in basic research compared to, corporate jobs, but that is a lot of interest for many people who continue to pursue research and do a lot of new discoveries and, find new things. But then we have this corporate connect, wherein you can either work in a wet lab or a dry lab. Wet lab, as I told you, if you want to take your research forward and have some kind of applied, you can do an applied research in R&D, in the research and development division of many pharma companies. This helps towards drug discovery. Of course, this means whatever research you are doing has an application. So this is the kind of research one can do in a pharma company, or if you have to work still in a wet lab work, you can find a lot of opportunities in diagnostic labs, which are very interesting. You have to do specialized courses for that to understand, to analyze specimens, etc. And you can work in diagnostic labs. And I told you about food science related opportunities with big time research going on in food technology and processing techniques, etc. And the recent trend is, of course, is the dry lab, which was not there many years ago. It's been there since the time I've been working, say about 20 years now. But before that, when I did my master's and PhD, this sector did not really exist so much. This kind of industry, in silico work, bioinformatics and knowledge services companies, they do a lot of data analysis and curation, annotation. They do not do any wet lab research. There is no working with pipettes, chemicals, mice, a lot of cell lines. No wet lab, no research at all, but working in front of a computer and doing a lot of work, sitting in front of the computer and analyzing a lot of literature out there. And also clinical research, clinical trials work, medical writing, technical writing, scientific writing, real world evidence, real world analytics. All this comes under dry lab sector. Systems biology, omics kind of work, information technology with related to biology, biophysics kind of work. All this comes under dry lab sector, wherein you don't have to really be in a wet lab doing research, but still you're doing a lot, adding a lot of value to scientific data. Can we go to the next slide, sir? Next slide, please. Next slide. Yeah. So you can, as I told you, you can be a research scientist in pharma companies. For example, Dr. Reddy's, Biocon, Syngene, these are all very big companies doing a lot of work. The past, for example, past 2 years, you know, we have had this COVID pandemic looming so large, and a lot of organizations had to, you know, shut down. But these kind of companies, you know, cashed in on, I think it's not a good word to say cashed in, but they contributed so much to, you know, to develop vaccines for COVID. And if not for their quick process, you know, these Dr. Reddy's and who developed corona vaccine, Sputnik vaccine, Bharat Biotech who developed Covaxin, Serum Institute of Pune, Covishield. If these companies had not jumped into the bandwagon and within 2 years developed a vaccine, you know, for making a vaccine, it takes several years in a wet lab. But within 2 years, they developed this vaccine and saved so many lives in our country. I think it's kudos to the research, the R&D division of all these pharma companies. If not for them, you know, we would have been struggling with this COVID pandemic. So there is a lot of opportunity for you to work in the R&D sector of these companies, you know, like Biocon, Dr. Reddy's and Syngene, etc. And, you know, they make a lot of life-saving drugs. They make many generic formulations. They make many innovative medicines. They make a lot of biosimilars, and all these are made affordable within our country. And they you know, you can do applied research in these R&D sectors of these pharma companies. You know, they have developed all this, for example, insulin, COVID vaccine, and many drugs. So this is a very interesting field you can explore if you want to, you know, still be in wet lab, and do not want to be in pure science and academic sector. You can always get into these pharma companies and still do research and help in the process of drug discovery process and development of innovative and novel medicines and generic formulations. Of course, with a little bit of chemistry, a little bit of biology, life science, all this background is essential to continue to work as research scientists in the wet lab of pharma companies. Next slide, please. Yes, I did tell you about food science related opportunities, which you can do wet lab and also dry lab in companies like our company, wherein you can also work in places like FSSAI, Food Safety and Standards Authority of India, which is a government organization which is similar to FDA. And of course, you have to have you know, master's degree in relevant disciplines such as food technology, dairy technology, food processing, etc., food biochemistry, and very special areas for R&D. Of course, you have to have a PhD in a relevant discipline. And the organizations that you can work include major players like you know, Hindustan Lever, ITC, Himalaya, NIN, National Institute of Nutrition, DFRL, Defense Food Research Laboratory, CFTRI in Mysore. All these institutes are doing a lot of work in the front of food technology disciplines, food processing techniques. It's very important. The food security is a major problem in the world. So, you know, developing novel processing techniques, novel foods, so to keep starvation under bay and to make food security available for many sections of the population. I think this is another area one can always also explore, and a lot of opportunities in this area as well. Next, please. Next. Yeah. A little bit about omics. I think all of you know about it. Omics is the study of, you know, genomes, proteomes and metabolome, transcriptome. These are all omics. It's a branch of science normally known as omics, based on various disciplines of biology, and they suffix it with omics, like such as genomics, proteomics, transcriptomics. Metabolomics is a little bit away from this because it's more into metabolites. And they provide a lot of these omics technologies provide helps us to look at the difference in understand biological regulation. These data sets, studying these data sets from either DNA, RNA, or protein, genomics, transcriptomics, proteomics techniques, helps us unravel biological regulation, helps us understand a lot of sequencing of different DNAs, RNA, helps us in to develop many therapeutic solutions. So this omics driven biology includes a lot of wet lab work, and as well as data science, informatics, computational science, statistical analysis. So it's a combination of wet lab and a dry lab, but it's a very specialized area, and it gives you an idea, a lot of understanding of sequence related area, therapeutic solutions to, and this techniques, omics driven techniques, unravels different layers of biological regulation, and also helps in the process of drug discovery process. And of course, we have these huge players like Hugo and Hupo in the world, doing a lot of work in omics. Generally, we need understand a lot of how to do mass spec analysis, MSGS, very big. You need to understand different kind of techniques to get into omics platform. And many job opportunities in the companies include such as Interpretomics, Excelris, Genomics Company, and many other organizations. Please have a look at the internet if there are other opportunities in this area. So this is another front which is very, very specialized. And if you need to get into this area, you need to equip yourself a little bit with understanding the techniques and the multi-omics research techniques and technologies, and the computational science, the informatics involved, the kind of technology they use. So once you understand this, you can get into this platform as well. Next, please. Next, please. Yeah. So basically, I'm interested in dry lab opportunities because this is where I've been working for many, many years. This is all with a lot of wet lab. It's fine. There's a lot of scientific, and we have the scientific and the clinical data driven sector. See, there's a lot of information available there in the form of scientific publications, right? A lot of research. We have a lot of scientific publications in PubMed. We have a lot of scientific publications in Medline from clinical publications. What are we going to do with all those publications? We need to understand how we can use those lot of scientific data available there. So this way, the healthcare data available, at using advanced analytics, using innovative technologies, using information technology, IT, we can hasten, we can help understand and contribute to the drug discovery process in the pharma industry and in general. So how do we take this healthcare information forward? There's a lot of information out there. We need to lot of scientific information available there. So we need to actually mine. We need to understand. We need to tap that scientific information that is available there, and the scientific concepts that are available there, in the clinical research studies, trials, all that data that is available there. If we can mine that data, if we can use that data, if we can understand that data, and put it in a correct context, it will help in the process of many giving therapeutic solutions and help in the discovery of novel medicines for various diseases. Therefore, by connecting a lot of scientific data that is available there, scientific knowledge, by connecting that with technology and using a lot of computational analysis, and text mining, we can help in the drug discovery process. So the concepts include scientific literature mining, data curation, big data analysis, text mining, machine learning tools, information technology, systems biology, real world analysis. All these concepts come under dry lab opportunities, which give you a lot of opportunities for you to find jobs. There are many organizations working in these sectors such as IQVIA, Syngene, Biocon, Icon, Covance, Accenture, Interpretomics, Accelerates. Of course, Molecular Connections is the lead, one of the pioneers and a global organization that, works a lot in this area of mining the vast amounts of scientific information and connecting this data and giving valuable information. Can I have a next slide, please? Next slide. Yeah. So we are, as I told you, a lead organization, a global leader, and we transform this vast amount of scientific data, clinical data that is available there, and we transform it to give it a value. Something, it's just lying there. So we put all this information and give a lot of value. So one such area that we work is scientific, technical, and medical publishing, which is STM. We identify all this, we capture the information, we store the information, we analyze the enormous amount of scientific information in various areas of biology, chemistry, physics, and clinical areas. We have metadata management, and our area of expertise include, manual and automated curation, document abstraction, scientific writing, technical writing, indexing, semantic tagging, translation, annotation of various scientific contents. And the scientific contents can be from patents, from literature, technical literature, scientific journals, clinical books, news, articles, clinical trials. So we mine all this wealth of scientific information that's available there, and we give it a good shape and a structured format. So see the amount of opportunity it is available. This kind of work can be done from home. This kind of work doesn't need, a wet lab. All you need is a lot of good understanding of scientific concepts, working in the computer, understanding a little bit of information technology, using some analytical tools, so we can use this vast information that is available and convert it to value. We have also developed a lot of databases in our organization, very wonderful databases like NetPro, which is a huge repository of protein-protein interactions. Then ClipPro is a biofluid biomarker database, which can be used for diagnostic purposes for understanding various diseases. SLX is another database which is a repository of a lot of food regulatory data, which is there from all over the world, from different countries. So we have these beautiful databases that we also work, which can be of interest to many people who like to get into molecular connections. The next slide, please. Yeah, and then of course, as I told you, we work in text mining, machine learning. Text mining tools are used to understand real world data. Statistical methods are there for information extraction process. This of course requires a little bit of information technology along with life science background. And of course, we have a lot of real world data and real world evidence. There's a lot of information in the clinical trials data that comes from simple trials, randomized trials, large trials, observational studies, prospective studies, retrospective studies. So what we do is we analyze all this large amount repository of clinical trials data and medical data that is available, and we generate this real world analysis by different study designs, analysis, and of course, this requires a little bit of statistical analysis and understanding of information technology, and this helps. Generating this real world data helps in understanding the adverse events of medicines, provides therapeutic solutions, and also, to make a lot of regulatory decisions on various drugs. So working on this clinical trials data also is another approach in the dry sector area. Next slide. Next slide. Yeah. Another important thing that we work in Molecular Connections is, apart from real world analysis and scientific medical publishing and text mining, ontology, thesaurus, we also work in thesaurus building, ontology building, and intellectual property research, wherein we access, we partner with many customers, our clients, and we access and mine and research a lot of Indian patents. And we have a repository, a database of Indian patents, and we leverage our technology to visualize, analyze these patents. It's very complex to analyze these patents. So we analyze these patents, visualize and design trademarks and other IP related information. This is another work that we do, wherein we add value to the vast amount of patents that is out there, which we take and analyze and add value. Next slide, please. Yeah. Next, yeah. So, of course, I did talk about this bioinformatics that we do, and it's the science of managing and analyzing biological data, which I already explained to you, using computing techniques. And we also do a little bit of systems biology, which is an integration of data from all levels of complexity, genomics, proteomics, metabolomics, and other molecular mechanism. We use advanced computational studies, techniques, and methods, and look at the network of interacting biomolecules at various, and understand the regulatory properties of all these interacting molecules. So these are different aspects that we work in Molecular Connections. Is one of the leading organizations wherein we have very many women workforce in our organization, because it gives you an opportunity to work from home. And you don't need sophisticated equipment. You need a computer. You need good scientific concepts. You must be able to read. You must be able to understand the guidelines that we provide, and you must be able to work according to what the project scope is. So the opportunities, and especially during COVID times, a lot of people could work from home. So I think we have been a very big global player, and one of the pioneering in silico discovery services company, and we have offered opportunities to many youngsters. We offer a lot of internships now for many youngsters who want to work in these different areas that I showed you in the dry lab sector. And if anybody is interested, they're most welcome to go into our website, and please do look for the opportunities, and get connected with Molecular Connections. See if we can help you out in some of the opportunities that within the purview of our organization, we can always help you out. We're also working on a lot of food science related projects as well, which is of course a dry lab sector with scientific literature, and so many areas: text mining, ontology building, thesaurus building. So I think there is a lot of there's so much out there, opportunities out there, and many organizations, including ours, which is a lead organization, that will help the younger minds to start looking for the opportunities. I hope my talk was useful to all the younger people and the bright minds. I could not put everything within the scope of 30-40 minutes, but based on whatever I have said, go and look look up in the internet, you will find many more organizations, many more niche areas that you can develop and look for job opportunities. And we will also help you with a lot of, job opportunities in our organization, also internships. So I would like to close my session with this. Thank you very much for, um, for giving me this platform to share my thoughts with the younger people. Thank you. Thank you.